The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
Ewan, last time I saw you, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, but you told me that you dressed up as a tomato, like for some commercial, and
Yeah.
I didn't believe you. And when
Did
I
you
went
look it up?
home and looked it up, I was dying.
I have a driver, a guy drives me in London called Lee when I'm working in London, and he tapes, I always forget, but he's taped the image of me as the tomato inside the sun visor. So whenever I put the sun visor down on the way to work, there I am as a tomato. And I'm like, oh, come on, Lee. He still does it to this day.
I'm going to do that too on my computer. Listen, I am a major prequelist, so this is very surreal for me.
That's cool.
To talk to you right now. Is it surreal for you? And with all the recent reboots we've seen in all these years, did it cross your mind that you would one day reprise your role as Obi-Wan Kenobi?
It's been a slow burn, really, to be honest. I wouldn't have wanted to do it, in 2003 when we finished the last episode that I did, Revenge of the Sith. They were so technical to make, and there was so much blue screen and green screen. They were quite difficult to do, those films, but we did our best. And I think when they came out, they didn't appear to be very well received by the critics. And so we were left as the cast feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves after they came out, after getting into Star Wars and it being such a huge deal, for them to be sort of slightly poo-pooed by the critics was hard. And it's taken years to realize that in actual fact, the generation we made them for, the kids who we made them for, really love them, and I didn't realize for a long time that was the case. And now I'm discovering that and feeling that more every day. It's a really nice feeling. And that's definitely partly one of the reasons why I wanted to come back to play him again. And I'm really happy that I did. I really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed playing him again. I'm that bit closer to Alec Guinness at age, and I'm always trying to sort of play my Obi-Wan Kenobi so that he grows up to be Alec Guinness, and that was maybe even easier this time.
How did you find Obi-Wan's voice again? Because you mentioned Alec Guinness, and a lot of fans are saying that you actually sound a lot more like Alec.
I think I'm always trying to sound like him in my head, and I don't want to do an impersonation of him, but I have to feel like him, and it's the way he phrases things, and I just listen to him a lot, and I have all his lines from A New Hope in a sound file, just his lines, which is sort of odd to listen to, but there's a particular, I could do takes in this that were more like me, and then there were some that were definitely more Alec Guinness-y takes, and I don't know, we'll see. There are some lines in the trailer that are quite Alec Guinness-y, it's true.
It's fascinating. I'm just picturing you opening up your file on your phone and every morning meditating to Alec Guinness's voice.
Hello there. Yeah, it's fun.
I can't believe you just said hello there. That's all I've ever wanted. Everyone's excited to see you and Hayden reunite. I was reading that you guys actually met before you started shooting, which I think is really cool. What was it like to be with Hayden Christensen on set in this show and see him as Darth Vader?
Amazing. I mean, just amazing experience to be. We'd been shooting for a little while before Hayden's first day, and I was on set. I couldn't believe how many people were around. Like, there was all of our crew were hanging around behind the cameras, and I was thinking, that's odd. It's not usually this many people around. And then Hayden walks out in the Vader suit, and I'm like, oh, of course, there we are. Everyone, wherever he went on set, there was like a polite distance, a polite-ish distance. There was many, many people. The love that the fans have for Hayden is huge, from the prequels, and so many of our crew were in fact Star Wars fans, so it was just really electric whenever he was on. And I can't talk about what we do in the series together, but you'll see. And it was special to shoot for sure.
Can you at least tell me the first thing you guys said to each other when you saw each other as Obi-Wan and Darth?
We hugged a lot, like it was, it wasn't necessarily, we're like we got very close making those first movies. He was in episode 2 and 3, and we were shooting them in Sydney, Australia. So we were really far away from home, and we had so much time together in the fight, the fight gym, working on the fights together, shooting together. And then because we were away from home, we spent a lot of time outside of work together as well. He was very sweet with my eldest daughter, Clara, for sure had her first. She totally fell in love with it. She was 4 years old, but she definitely fell in love with Hayden. And he was so sweet with her. He was really lovely with her. And I've always loved that. He just gave her a lot of time, and he's a lovely, lovely man. So it was just great to see him again. And when we walked out as, Anakin, Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was a moment. It was a moment on set, and it was like no time had passed at all since 2003.
Makes me so happy. I also love you and how much of your family, like you mentioned your daughter, but now your wife is going to be in Ahsoka Tano. Your uncle was Wedge Antilles. It's just amazing. But something that I've always wanted to ask you is I just find you to be so hilarious. Like you make me laugh so much. I watch so many of your interviews, and Obi-Wan has always been sort of more straightforward. And I was wondering, what is that like to play for you? Do you ever joke on set and you want to like throw it in one of your lines as Obi-Wan?
Well, I always think that Alec Guinness is quite witty, but it's quite behind the eyes. He's always got a sort of twinkle in his eyes, And so I sort of try and do as Obi-Wan. I do have some sort of snidey lines with Hayden in the prequels where I'm, some sort of sarcastic humor with him, I guess. I think you can see in some of the sort of behind the scenes stuff, or the some of the memes are very funny because, when you take out, there's just some funny moments. I'm just thinking there's a funny one where I'm standing in the doorway of a spaceship looking at him, and it just looks very camp and funny, the way I'm looking down at him. There's some very amusing memes from the prequels.
You were the best meme ever. Can I get a "May the Force be with you" meme?
May the Force be with you. There you go.
You were the greatest. Thank you for everything ever. And I'm so happy that you're taking fan sentiment to heart now, because the prequels are everything for me.
Oh, well, that's lovely to hear. I just didn't know for a long time. I didn't.
I think we always concentrate on the bad and never like the positive,
Yeah. Also, there's just no social media. Also the kids were kids. There was no way to know what people felt about them, really. And now that I hear it loud and clear, and I'm delighted.
Moses, I love you in the Queen's Gambit, and now the fact that you're an action figure, like I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
This is so wild. I'm a major fan of the prequels, so I first wanted to know, what was it like seeing Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back in Star Wars, and what did it feel like to be in scenes with them?
Wild. We only get to do what we're doing right now because of the foundation that they laid nearly 20 years ago. And it's really invaluable to be able to stand in between them and soak up all the wisdom from them that I can. And we work with so many people who were, lifelong Star Wars fans. And it was beautiful to sort of watch people live out their dreams on set with these, cultural pillars, I would say.
So was there a moment for you that was like defining, where you're like, wow, I'm in a Star Wars series right now?
Oh, so many, so many. And I wish I could like say, but I think the closer we get to it belonging to the people, the more real it gets, I would say, on that end, for sure.
Well, that just got me really excited. I'm super stoked to get to know more about your character, Reva. Obviously, I know she's an Inquisitor, and I was wondering, what can you tell us about the Inquisitors? And also, did you look to Star Wars Rebels or Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order video games for inspiration?
She's on a team. She's on a team of Inquisitors. And any team is full of individuals, and she has her own way of doing things, and she doesn't care, what anybody thinks about the way in which she does them. And I didn't look to the other lore. It was important for me. I feel really blessed coming in because there's not so much about her, she's new. And so I was able to, bring what I felt to it, which was really great. And yeah.
Well, we got to talk about, because obviously we're going to get to know your character more and everything that you're bringing to her, because there's not much we know about her. But one thing that we did see in the trailer that got me excited, Moses, is there's a part where in the trailer, I think it's your voice, where you say, "You can't run, Obi-Wan," and we see you bust out this lightsaber and you're just like, you just look so cool. I have to know about, Reva's lightsaber saga. Like, did you get to pick out your own? I know Euan did, and Samuel L. Jackson requested his own purple one. Tell me about picking your lightsaber and what her lightsaber is like.
So I didn't get to pick my lightsaber, but my lightsaber is custom to myself and my hands, which is really cool. And it went through a lot of processes as we went through and training, learning what needs to change about the lightsaber as we go. And it really is something when you get to set and, they open up the box and you get to fight with yours for the first time. Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick.
What was it like fighting with it for the first time?
Oh, well, I mean, the training is like, it's really in depth. We trained for 4 months before we even got to set, and it takes so much time and like so many little muscles that you would never even think of. And it's hard at first, but once you get it, you feel super confident. And I think the surprise in fighting with it for the first time was like, there are different size lightsabers for depending on which kind of scene you're shooting. And there's the full length one, and then there's a medium one, and there's like a little bitty baby one too. So you use all of them, which is really cool.
That's so cool. I had no idea. So then were you able to like take home the little one and practice at home, or would you use something else to practice with?
So I did have a practice saber that I was sent home with that I still have, or my best friend has, I think right now. And I have my hilt hanging in my living room. So I have the hilt of my saber in my living room.
That is so sick. That's so cool. One thing I've always wondered too, Moses, that I've always wanted to ask an actor in a Star Wars anything is I feel like the characters in Star Wars speak a little differently. It's almost like their pacing is a little slower and more intentional. I was wondering, is there some type of Jedi training that you go through to be, to play a Star Wars character, and specifically about the voice too? I was curious.
Well, the voice, I'm not really sure, but I know with Euan, when he started, he sort of focused on Alec Guinness. But for me, I think it's also because it's heightened text in a way. Like it's real, but it's like also like lifted. It kind of makes me think of Shakespeare a little bit in a way. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yeah, I missed the last part of your question. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You kind of answered it.
Okay, yeah.
I also wanted to know before I go, thank you for that answer, is now that you're in Star Wars, is there any other Star Wars character that you would love for Reva to interact with?
Ahsoka. Yeah, she's really cool. And I'm excited to see that series as well.
Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
Deborah, it is such a pleasure to share space with you. Congratulations on like this major accomplishment. I'm like a huge prequelist. I've been
that's awesome.
This is like so cool for me. I'm also just a major fan, we all are, of your directing work, on Better Call Saul and The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is very much a Western. The Book of Boba Fett is a mob story. I wanted to know, what kind of story is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I think for Star Wars, for me, the DNA is always in Westerns and in samurai films. And I think, I think the difference from Mandalorian to Kenobi for me was like, if I was looking at references of classic Westerns, or classic samurai films for Mandalorian. For Kenobi, I was looking, because we wanted to do a story that was much more character based. I was looking at things that were a little bit more atmospheric, a little more poetic, emotional. So I was looking at things like The Proposition, Assassination of Jesse James, where it's still a Western and you still have the genre, but it feels a little different in the point of view.
I can't wait to go watch those now. Thanks for sharing. With us. That's awesome. What's really interesting about the fact that you directed Better Call Saul is that in that show, the characters very much gradually move to the dark side too. So my team and I were wondering, what is so alluring about the dark side, and what have you learned about the dark side now working on both of those shows and the power of it?
It's funny because I've done a lot of genre and I really truly love doing fantasy and sci-fi, and I really seek it out to do it. And there's a lot of darkness in it, I guess, because it's always, you're in an apocalypse or it's zombies or something going on. So it's sort of natural that it comes with darkness. I think it's interesting to explore because it's so part of human nature, and it's very basic, but just kind of, the Star Wars of it all, of light side, dark side, it is so embedded in just human nature that it is something I think that it's just a natural fit, honestly, for storytelling.
I love that. And I love that you got to explore that. But yeah, it's true. Let's talk about the light side for a second, because, I was telling you, I obviously love the prequels, and whether people love them or not, what I found in conversations and arguments is everyone can agree on Ewan McGregor's performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi. What is it about Ewan's take on Obi-Wan Kenobi that you think is so special to fans?
I know for me, I think, Ewan just brings such a warmth, and he brings such a humor and a compassion to the role. Like he does that thing where he smiles with his eyes, and like there's just such a sensitivity and a depth to the character that it's very hard not to love it. And it's so interesting because, also as we've started to do press and the trailer came out, just feeling like that prequel love, and people like you who genuinely like grew up with them and love them, that I feel like for that generation, like Ewan really is their Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's, I think for a lot of us, it's like he just represents the best qualities of the Jedi.
It's so true. It's like you want him to be your uncle or something.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to obviously see him and Hayden in this show, but I'm also super excited about another character. I'm a major Fast and Furious fan. I love Sung Kang. I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about him.
I know, you're the first person who's asked me about Sung Kang. Yeah, go.
So
That's
proud
awesome.
of myself. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of myself right now. Can you tell me about casting him? What can you tell us about his character and working with him?
Sung is awesome. And honestly, like I was so fortunate with this cast. I had a great cast. Everybody was so cool to work with. And he's also a big Star Wars fan. And also, obviously the connection to Han Solo. So it was great to have him come and be part of it. And, he's obviously playing Fifth Brother, which is coming out of Rebels, as, one of the characters that Dave established. And it's an interesting character because, there has been obviously stuff that's been established with him, but there was also a fair amount of room for Sung to try to make the character his own. So I think it was awesome. It was kind of great having someone like Sung come in and really make that role his.
I can't wait to see the magic that you guys make together with that. I'm very, very much looking forward to that, as well as, of course, Easter eggs. What can you tell us what can you tell us about Easter eggs in this show, and what are you most excited for people to see when it comes to that?
I don't think it would be Star Wars if we didn't have some Easter eggs and we didn't have some cameos. So there definitely are some to come. And I think for us, like what we do have in the show, it needed to come out of character and story for us. We didn't want to just put things in for the sake of it. But that said, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a character that has definitely interacted with a lot of people and has done a lot in his life.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna, for the record, if Jar Jar or Mace Windu show up, I would actually die. And Deborah, I'm so excited to see your work on this. Is a Star Wars film something that you would love to explore in the future? Like, is that something that you're sort of thinking about and want to do bucket list wise?
I think at this point, obviously I've done 3 years on Kenobi and, did Mandalorian right before this. At this point, honestly, all I'm looking forward to is actually just taking a vacation and taking a break. So I honestly can't fathom anything right now. I just kind of need to have a rest for a second. But that said, it's an amazing galaxy. It's a tremendous place to direct in. It's so fun. And there's so many stories I think that could still be told in this galaxy. So
Absolutely. Also, I commend you for saying that because burnout is so real. And
oh
I
yeah,
think,
I'm ready.
I don't think we need to wear Venus as a badge of honor. And yes, you have given enough to the world. So congratulations on this. I would love your take just personally on if you would love to see a Darth Vader spinoff series come out of this.
I don't know, because with Vader, I feel like less is always more. And you're always in danger. And that's something that, we really kept a close eye on, is that so much of his power comes from less and, from keeping that mystique with him. So I guess it would depend on how it was done.
Okay. I like that answer too. Yeah, it's true. That's a character we have to protect.
Yeah.
What was it like for you? I was just talking to Euan about this. What was it like for you to see Hayden walk out as Darth and Euan as Obi-Wan on set for the first time? I would love to know what you were feeling like in those moments, and if you could just sort of describe that moment.
Yeah, I think with both of them, and and obviously they started at different times. So seeing, the first time I saw Euan in character was at a camera test very early on, and just seeing him sort of back in the robes and walking out, like for me, I really did have a moment where I was like, that's the show. You know what I mean? Like, this is the show, like, and it's Obi-Wan Kenobi standing in front of me. With Hayden, it's just such an intense thing, Vader, like he's one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history. He's also twice my size, so it's a very intense thing. So you definitely have a moment the first time you see it. And then once, after that, then you're like, you got to get back to work and you just got to focus and go. But yeah, it was incredibly special.